adult.
Gene's idea.
Yes. This is a good one.
Can I suggest that besides just your name, maybe you tell your association with Slydini, friend, student, whatever, and if you took lessons, maybe for what time period? Now, many of the things that are said tonight are being tape recorded just because of posterity, and we're going to compile some history. So it might be good to put it on there, and knowing when you were with him would be good.
Right? Yeah, Bill Wisch. I started studying with Tony in 1973, and so many things you say. I listen to these stories about the lessons being 4 hours, and there's so many, and each one of us, I'm sure, could spend 4 hours telling stories, because the more you think about each lesson, the more stories you have to tell. But I think one of the stories I like to tell is when Artie was in the hospital with him, the nursing home. I'll never forget this. We were in that little room, where all the people kind of hang out with around the tables. It's like a rec room or something with the TV and all that stuff. And he was, I guess this was a few months before he died. But I remember he was out there, and he was doing some stuff, and he wanted me to do a few things for some of the people, and I did that. And then we got up to go back to the room, and there was some lady, I don't know who it was, but she had to be moved in her wheelchair from one table to the other, just one of those kind of things. And of course, he knew all these people. He was there for a couple of years. And just one thing struck me so impressive. This was Slydini all the way. He moved this woman over to the table, set her up at the table, kind of looked up like this, up into the air, and just put his hand on her shoulder and went like this, and then walked away. That just touched me. I don't know what it was, but there was something about seeing that. But he just walked her over, and he just put his hand on her shoulder and went like that. And he did that to every one of us. He did that same thing to every one of us. If he liked you, or if he respected you, boy, there was nothing he wouldn't do for you. One time, my wife and I went up to Connecticut with him, because we all have our stories about traveling. And on the way home from this long show, he was there, the whole 9 yards. He says, we got to stop at a bakery. I said, well, we stop at a bakery, huh? So we stopped at a bakery. We're looking around. It's a Sunday afternoon. There's not many bakeries around. We finally found one place. He says, go in and buy some cookies. He wasn't. So I'm saying, hey, whatever he wants, I'll get it, We go in, gets the box of cookies. We get back to his house, gives it to my wife, I mean, it's little things like that, You think you're doing it for him, but he's really doing it for you. I mean, there's so many stories, but I agree with what Palmer says. We could go on for this for years and years and years and just have a blast, just talking about him. He was probably the nicest, most calm man I've ever met, and yet he was gifted. Jackie Gleason once said that, you can work for 40 years for a gold watch, and you'll get this from your boss, and you'll go around and show everybody how great, oh, look what I got my gold watch here. This is what I did for 40 years, and look what I got. I'm proud of it. Well, good Lord gives us each a gift, and instead of a gold watch. And there's nothing to be ashamed of to go out and do that kind of magic. That's what I liked about Tony. He would go out, he was humble, but he also knew it was the best. He knew he was the best, and there was nothing better. And Jackie Gleason also said that vanity is an actor's courage. And I think that's true also. With Tony, when he knew it was good, but yet he was the most humble man. So there's so many stories. I started in '73 with him, and I went for a while, a few years. It was just the best 3-4 years of my life.
Can you now show us how to lap that bowl of
I just want to let you know that Bill is the only one that Slydini recommended to lecture on his work.
It was a real honor. He wrote a letter for me one time. He says, one time at one lesson, he says, you want to lecture? He would say lecture. He said, you want to lecture? I said, yeah, someday I'd like to lecture, in the near future. He said, no, I mean now. He had just come out with the new books in 1976. And he said, I said, what are you kidding? So he writes me a letter, and then he sends it to each one of the presidents of all the clubs. And that's how I started my lecture. I had 38 cities the first time, and I lectured everything out of his books that I could do, most of it I could do, and I would take requests. I even did the thing with the wine, you know, the port wine, with the little glass. Great trick, really is a terrific trick. I think he called it the bartender's rare. And then we did another tour in 1978. Sold a lot of books. But it's amazing. He was a very, very kind man.